to look back at the last Forge FC contest.
Simply stunning stuff. And finally, their goal.
Here is Match and Review.
My word, what a rocket.
With Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network.
Hello, Forge fans. It's Forge Audio Network. I'm Anthony Urciuoli. This is Match in Review. If you stayed up, we are past midnight here in Hamilton, local time. Forge FC losing to Vancouver FC by a final score of 2-0. And listen, this wasn't good at all. And through Forge's struggles, and they have struggled, to be sure, we've found some silver lining, bad luck, getting opportunities, just not being clinical enough. We like talking about possession and expected goals and all of these things. I can't really give that to you after this performance. Yes, the possession, 66% in favor of Forge. Shot attempts, 17-9 for Vancouver. But shots on target, 4-4. Big chances in this match, officially. 2 for Vancouver. 0 for Forge FC. Now, coming into this match, we talked about it quite a bit, extensively. This was an opportunity. Forge having trouble scoring. They had gone 2 games without a goal, now 3. If they were going to break out of this slump, out of whatever's going on here, this was the opportunity. Last place team, worst team in the league defensively. They had, coming into this match, they'd given up 19 goals in 10 matches, averaging almost 2 goals against per match. At home, they were averaging 3 goals against on average per match. So here's a club that gives up 3 goals per match at home. They've played Forge twice this season. Forge has scored 0 times in those 2 matches combined. And the final in this one, 2-0 in favor of Vancouver FC. It's tough. We can go. We'll run this back. Let's go right back to the beginning here. Forge came out with their 4-3-3/3-5-2 kind of hybrid lineup. Terran Campbell, Pasillas, David Chouanier up top. Again, I say hybrid because this is a fluid formation typically, and there was no exception in this one. Kwesi Poku, Kyle Becker, Kane got the start in this one. Sissoko, and then I would say 3 primary defenders in Mandrikar James, Alex Ashton-Yodi Janssen, and Dominic Samuel. Kane, by the way, April signing, 17-year-old, came through the CF Montreal youth system, gets his opportunity in this one. And you could see early Forge's game plan. Overload the left side. When you kind of run out of space, switch it to David Chouanier on the right side, allow him to go one-on-one and to use his space. And quite frankly, early on, you had a feeling like Vancouver might be in trouble here because Forge was pressing and Vancouver was struggling in coverage, struggling to defend some of these opportunities. 26th minute was kind of, if you want to sum up Forge FC's stretch here over the last month or so, Kyle Becker with a free kick hits the crossbar. The keeper, Callum Irving, dives to his left, misses it. Ball hits the crossbar, drops down into the middle of the field. You have 2 Forge players, Dominic Samuel and Woobens Pasillas on the ball. this ball was just lying a couple of feet in front of that goal line. No keeper to be seen. 2 Forge players converge on the ball. They get there at the same time, essentially, collide a little bit, and neither of them get to the ball. The ball just kind of bounces off of both of them as they're both charging toward it. I mean, both guys they both wanted the ball. They saw a ball, they saw a wide open goal, and so they were just, listen, they were going for the ball. And then it just, they kind of collide. Ball bounces off of one of their legs, goes out. Not even a shot on target, not even a scoring opportunity. And that's just it. It just, you sum it up. The way it looks, and I don't know. It's a mental game here. There's something going on right now. This is between the ears. It's psychological. When Forge is on the ball and they have possession, they look like Forge. They're in control. They're smooth. They're connecting. Pass accuracy up around 85%. They're doing everything right. But when it comes down to instinct, when all of a sudden it's a broken play, it's no longer X's and O's. It's just instinctual soccer. There are miscues, which tells you it's something psychological at this point. And you could see Vancouver. I mean, I made a note here after that chance from when Becker hits the bar, and then Pacius and Samuel miss the opportunity with the ball bouncing right in front of them. You had that, okay, Vancouver's in trouble here, right? It's a matter of time. In fact, you could see Vancouver start to lose their shape. Their midfield was retreating a little bit more than they were at the start. They were almost converging with the back line. Vancouver looked disorganized. They were bending. And this was Forge's opportunity. 34th minute. Sissoko attacking from the right side. He hits the woodwork and just throws his arms up in the air. Come on. It's frustrating at this point. We get it. And the players are feeling it. That's obvious at this point. A minute later, right after the Becker, Pacius, Samuel chance, right after Sissoko hits the woodwork, 1 minute later, Vancouver scores. Really, Forge was just beaten up field. And Dominic Samuel slips, and it's 16-year-old TJ Tahid scoring his first ever goal. Vancouver's up 1-0. At home, a place they hadn't won yet. And this is where it's a mental game. This is where it's psychological. Everything that could have gone wrong to this point did. And Forge is trailing by the 35th minute. At this point, Vancouver had 37% possession, but shots on target at this point were 2-1 in favor of Vancouver. So the hinges came off the door just a few minutes after that opener. Because in the 39th minute, another complete disaster defensively. Kane tries to go back to Urciuoli Janssen. There's a miscue. The pass wasn't accurate. And Vancouver's off to the races. Sent in all alone. And they go up 2-0. And that's it. You're heading into the 40th minute now. Down 2-0. Hit the woodwork a few times already. And Forge goes into halftime with a massive deficit at this point. They've gone 2.5 matches without scoring a goal. The stats at halftime, Forge, 63% possession. Shot attempts were 6-6. Shots on target, though, 4-2 in favor of Vancouver. Just way more efficient. Expected goals at halftime. Despite that possession at 63% in favor of Forge. Expected goals, 1.54 for Vancouver, 0.38 for Forge. the big chances halfway through this match, 2-0 in favor of Vancouver. And that's how those would end, by the way, the big chances. So now Forge did make some changes in that second half. Borges came in for Pacius. Malcolm Duncan came in for Sissoko in the 46th minute. Actually, right to begin the half, those switches were made. A few minutes after that, Taron Campbell, the free header in the area, misses the target, and then more switches. And this half just, this was as frustrating a half as you could imagine. The club's already down 2. You could tell they're pressing. You could tell just things are not, it is just not their night once again. By the 64th minute, we're making more changes. Jensen comes on for David Chouanier. A few minutes after that, Hamilton comes on for Taron Campbell. And the final switch was made in the 76th minute. It was Poku coming off and Malika Lawabi-Belu going on. But end of the day, it did not matter because the result was a 2-0 loss in favor of Forge. Now, there's no way, even if I tried, I could not sugarcoat this. It was a disaster. It was. The result was a disaster. The performance had some positives, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, it's been a recurring theme over the last few weeks, and quite frankly, we can't keep looking at possession and using it as some major indicator when the results just aren't there, not consistently anyway, and certainly not recently. By the way, the starting 11 for Vancouver in this one, I should mention their best player. Really, their only positive this season before this match. This might be the highlight of their season. Actually, it is this win against Forge. First ever win at home. They started the lineup without Hundal, who was their best player. He didn't even start. He didn't even come in till like the 64th minute or something. So their best player wasn't even on the field for the first 64 minutes, and he's been just a revelation for them this season. But the average age of their starting lineup, Vancouver's 21.9 years old. Full credit to Vancouver FC. Sometimes you do have to give a little bit of due to your opponent. And in this one, yes, they were fortunate after, some Forge miscues. But I mean, they kept their head in the game and they shut things down. I mean, they parked the bus and they won 2-0. So if you're Forge FC now, I mean, where do you go? We'll look at the updated table. Forge still in third place, but they're in a danger zone. They played more matches than anybody, and there are 4 clubs behind them that have played 2 less matches and are only a few points back. So, Cavalry's in 4th. They're 4 points back. Valor's tied for 4th. They're 4 points back. Halifax also 4 points back. But again, all 3 of those clubs have 2 matches in hand on Forge. And you look at this stretch, it's the last 5 matches for Forge, 4 losses, 1 draw. 11 goals this season in 12 matches. So they're under a goal per match, and they're -2 with their goal differential, which goal differential last year, I mean, they ran away with that stat last year. No one was even close. Not even first place Atletico Ottawa touched Forge's plus-minus. But Forge is -2. 12 matches into the season. We're only a couple matches away from the midway point. Still plenty left. The nice thing about a small league in terms of total number of teams, as you do play the teams you're chasing and the teams that are behind you, you're playing them, constantly. So it's not going to be that easy for these clubs to make up those games in hand because they will also have to beat Forge in the process. But Forge now they have a week. Sorry, not even a week. Less than a week. Another short week. This condensed schedule. the reason Forge has played so many matches is you see they've played so many matches and it's been a condensed schedule. So it's a Tuesday night match, late one in Vancouver. Now they get a few days off, but they're right back at it this weekend at home against Atletico Ottawa. We are approaching. The term must win gets thrown around a lot of times, more often than it should, but we're getting pretty close. Because this is not a club that they cannot, not only can they not drop points, they cannot drop any more points at home the way they have to this point. So the good news is they're playing Ottawa, a club that they've had a lot of success against, that they raised a trophy in front of not that long ago. And there's a few days to prepare. They've been on the road now. I believe they went straight from Winnipeg last Friday to Vancouver without a stop at home. So now they get to go home, reset, recharge, and hopefully find some answers before Sunday. Sunday, Tim Hortons Field, 6 p.m. kickoff against Atletico Ottawa. And as much as this match, you want to call it an opportunity, maybe it's a wake-up call. I'm not sure you can get much lower than losing to Vancouver 2-0 and playing them twice this season and not being able to score a goal against the worst defensive team in the CPL this season. So look, that's where we are. It's a small league in terms of total teams, more than half of the season left. They are currently sitting in a playoff spot. At the end of the day, there is plenty left to be played. And it is difficult to not have full faith in this lineup. I know it's difficult right now, but I have to remind everybody, every time I talk to you, the list of prolific goal scorers, champions in this lineup. It's you could not ask, if you are a club looking to get out of a rut, you could not ask for a better, more experienced lineup. And maybe, you talk about finding a positive. At the end of the day, there's enough motivation here to at the very least, if you can pull yourself out of this, and you still have to feel pretty confident they will. Forge pulls themselves out of this rut. They are better because of it. I mean, that's just the reality. And so the next step is finding 3 points on the weekend at home against Atletico Ottawa. You can be there live. I will be there leading up to that match. We will have a match day preview. So you can stay tuned for that, as well as 3 keys to the match, which will be available on all the Forge FC social channels. So thank you for staying up late. We are well past midnight now locally here in Hamilton. Your final score out of Vancouver. Vancouver FC 2, Forge FC 0. We will talk to you again very soon. And remember, immediately following that match on Sunday against Atletico Ottawa, log in. You can go to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We are live with a match in review. Instant. The reaction cannot get more instant than us going live right at the final whistle. And Sunday will be no exception. Okay, that's all coming up. Keep it locked onto the Forge Audio Network. Also, Forge Daily. If you're not subscribed, I suggest you do so to the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, because there is Forge content coming to you daily. All right. We'll talk to you very soon.
This has been Match in Review with Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network. For the latest on all things Forge FC, subscribe on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.